What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. How $25 a day can set you free. Today, we're going to talk about starting with where you're at with what you have today and how $25 a day can change the entire trajectory of your financial future. Hey, I know you're saying, how is $25 going to set me free? Well, have you ever wondered how do certain people seem to have financial success? And I'm not talking about the entertainers or the athletes or the actors or the C suite, the CEOs, the COOs, the CFOs. I'm talking about normal, everyday, working class people, such as you and me, and most of the folks we know. And I'm here to tell you, it starts humbly. Now, some may have a head start, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about starting from zero with where you are today, whether you're in the hole, whether you have nothing. I saw a news interview with this guy named Larry Fink. Larry Fink is the CEO and founder and chairman of the largest institutional investment firm in the world. His company has over 10 trillion with a T dollars worth of assets under management. That's right. This guy's responsible for a $10 trillion company. And what he does is he allocates capital. And he did an interview speaking about the retirement crisis and how 50% of working class Americans have $0 saved or put aside for retirement. $0. 50% of working Americans have $0 set aside for their retirement. And I'm not a big proponent of retirement for the sake of retirement because a good friend of mine, a brother by the name of Gerald Peters out of Texas, he introduced this idea that kings don't retire. If you think about prior to the industrial age when they had people had kingdoms, they were kings and queens. Kings never retired. You never heard of a king talking about, yeah, man, when I turn 67, I'm going to turn the kingdom over to my nephew, or I'm gonna open it up and see if we can get a new candidate to be king. No, Joker died a king and prepared an heir to take over the kingdom. And that's the approach I've adopted in my own personal life is that, hey, I'm going to die a king in this kingdom I'm building on behalf of my family because, it's biblical that a man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. I don't have any children's children. I just have two sons. But everything I do and the way that I move and the way that I think is about the future generations of my bloodline so that they can be greater contributors to society and be an example and a beacon of light on what it looks like as a unified family who were good stewards of the blessings that was bestowed upon them. But so with that, 50% of our working class peers, I mean, one out of every two of your coworkers that you see working don't have no money set aside for retirement. That's just the reality of things because there's no longer pensions unless you work for the federal government or if you're in the military. Most states, municipalities, and corporations no longer have pensions. Either you put money aside into their 401k retirement pension fund or you don't. And if you don't, they don't care. You just work until you die. My thing is, work is worship, because wealth is spiritual, and as we dedicate our energies toward earning a living and creating a life for ourselves, we want to be better stewards of that. And so what I discovered years ago is that now this all based on you getting your financial house in order. You get rid of all consumer debt outside of a mortgage payment. I'll give you a pass if you got a car note, but you want to get that car paid off and you want to ride that car until you get your money at a substantial point where it's working for you and you're not working so much for the money. But consumer debt, you just got to get rid of it. It doesn't serve you. And it's counterproductive to having an enhanced future financially because you want to be a producer, not a consumer. So if you're dealing with anything financially in your world that's consumer based, stop. Get some help. Become a producer. Find out what it takes to produce more than it is you're receiving and consuming. And so the $25 a day is simply this. Wherever you are, and for me it was $25 because I was in a position to do that. But think about this. $25 a day doesn't sound like a lot, but there's a good chance on any given day of the week you spend $25, whether it's on gas, whether it's on food, whether it's on coffee, whatever it is. What I want to encourage you to do is start allocating a dedicated dollar amount towards investing. That's what's going to change the reality of your financial future. And if it's $5 a day, $10 a day, $20 a day, you pick the amount, but I want you to commit to, make a decision that you're going to do this. And I said a day, my path was by the day. You may want to do by the week. You may want to do every time you get paid. Break it down. Okay, if $5 a day times a week is $35, and you get paid every 2 weeks, then you're going to set aside $70. That's the same thing as $5 a day. Or $10, that's $140 every 2 weeks when you get paid. Or $20, that's $280 every time you get paid. And here's the thing, I just want you to set it into an investment account. Fidelity, and maybe Vanguard, um, Charles Schwab, open those accounts up, start funding them, and then you're going to twofold. You're going to start educating yourself, investing in your understanding, because we were all misinformed on what it takes to actually learn and master a skill set. So, quick story. In high school, because of the nature of how the system is set up, you go to class, everybody sits in a group, and you got a teacher give you instructions so that you can get enough information to memorize and pass a test. And if you do that well, they deem you as smart. If you don't do that really well, they say, you're not the smartest guy. Maybe you want to consider a trade route, or you're just not that bright, best based on that metric. Well, that the current system does no child any justice. Because for me, fortunately, so I thought, I could memorize a bunch of useless information and pass the test at the end of the week with an A. And I did that consistently over the course of 4 years in high school and was deemed a smart kid. Well, here's the thing, it was BS because I wasn't learning anything. I wasn't learning any real world application on how to take what I discovered in the classroom and applied it into my real world. So, what I've discovered as an adult is that there's three things. Like, real true learning comes from learning about a subject matter. Okay, you want to learn about investing? Start researching, getting investment books, by folks who are living a life you would like to live. There's individuals that have been successful in the world of investing and multiplying money. If they've written books, and for $20, $25, you can buy their knowledge and start educating yourself. But all you're going to do is you're going to learn about investing, what investing is. The next phase of learning is, okay, now you've learned about investing. Now you need to learn how to invest based on what you learned about. And once you learn how to invest, the last phase, the actual learning phase, is now you need to execute what it is you just learned about, how to do it. Now you do it. And once you start doing it, now you're starting to go down that pathway of mastery. And trust me, there's no deadline, there's no test at the end of it. This is just part of your overall journey to enhance your financial future for yourself, for your family, and for your greater community. And so the $25 a day Years ago, I'm going to give you an example. I started my investment career in saving up large lump sums of money to buy real estate. And as a result, I have a humble income producing real estate portfolio that throws off a few $1,000s a month, to keep the lights on, you know what I'm saying? And, let us buy a little bit of steak and seafood rather than chicken all the time. But I wanted to find out, I always hear these stories of, man, if, you know, friends of mine, parents had Walmart from the 80s. You know, this young lady that I discovered on social media was buying Apple stock when the iPhone dropped in 2007 and never sold a share. And you hear about these different stories where folks allocated, man, they put $2,000 into Microsoft in 1989 and now it's worth a gazillion dollars. You be like, God, and you be like, I'm gonna tell you, in 2002, I think it was, you know, fact check me on it, but in 2000, like either one or two, Amazon stock went from 90 something dollars a share down to $6 a share. $6. Amazon got up to $3,000 during the pandemic. $3,000 a share. If you had 100 shares of Amazon for $6 a share, you spent $600 and you turned that $100, I'm sorry, those 100 shares into $300,000 if somebody in your bloodline simply had educated themselves on the power of investing and holding. And they say there's only two times that are the best times to invest in your life. One is 20 years ago, and the next best time is today. And so, what I want to encourage everyone that's listening to this video to do is make a financial commitment, because once you got skin in the game, aka money, whether it's $5, $10, $20, $100, and it's in that investment account, you start to pay attention, because what you're vested in draws your attention to, and where your attention flows, energy goes. And now you enter into the phase of multiplying, because remember, in scripture it says we're encouraged to multiply, be fruitful, subdue, and have dominion over our surroundings. And ideally, until you start to make that investment in yourself, in your education, in your understanding of how this capitalistic world works and how to use money as the tool it is to tweak, create, build the life you want for you, yourself, your family, your friends, and your community. Until you have skin in the game, you're just talking. And I promise you, $25 may not seem like a lot, but that $25 can buy your first investment book, which, hey, for $25, you can get Think and Grow Rich. Because the hardest work that most people don't do is think. For $25 a day, you can allocate it into an investment account. And once you educate yourself, start making allocations of that money that you put into that account. And in 20 years, because hey, God willing, we'll be around 20 years from now, just that simple $25 a day could turn into $500,000 if you're willing to become the individual capable of doing what's necessary on a daily basis to ultimately have whatever it is your heart's desire. Hey, I appreciate y'all tuning in tonight, YouTube. As always, I encourage you, keep working hard on your job. You know it's gonna make you a living, but if you work harder on yourself, aka my man Jim Ron, you'll make a fortune. Till next time, YouTube, I appreciate y'all. Peace.